Well, you probably noticed that there's no August security patch or update for your Google Pixel 6, 6 Pro, or 6a yet. Yes, they missed the mark yet again. And as of the publishing of this video, it's not available. That doesn't mean it couldn't come out later today. But here's the fundamental issue that we have. And this is kind of a three-part issue. One, if you didn't know this, when they released the phone and they gave it out to a bunch of reviewers who were testing it out and saying, okay, it's got this problem, it's got that problem, a lot of those things didn't take into consideration that it was pre-release software and that the phone was still running an April software build. April. And that's understandable. When the phone comes out, it's been in the box for a little while. So when us guys got it, it trickled down. They sent it out for us to test. A lot of people didn't go into the settings to see what software version it was running. I think most people just assume it's the latest, but in reality, it's not. So the issue we ran into is there were problems that there were actually quite a few fixes for in the May, June, and July updates that the phone was missing. The second issue we had was when the phone launched. So the phone launched a couple of days ago, and it was still stuck on the April patch. They did not have a launch date patch to bring up the code. In fact, they still don't. There's no update for this phone to take it to July. It has a June security patch and update, but here's the thing. Only select people got it. And this is actually a larger problem, and I've not seen something like this in my life before. And I had some people that were reaching out to me saying, hey, I've got my Pixel 6a, I'm trying to use it with my carrier, but it's not working. And my carrier is Cricket, and also it won't work with Mint Mobile. Now, here's something important that a lot of people don't know about. There are distinctions in carriers, and some of them have different software builds, some of them have different things that they require. And when it comes to what's called an MVNO, they do operate a little bit differently. An MVNO is kind of like a third-party carrier that uses their towers. So if you think about AT&T, their MVNO is Cricket, or even Red Pocket Mobile. If you look at T-Mobile, their MVNO is Metro by T-Mobile and also Mint Mobile. So it was working with some of the carriers, but it wasn't working with the MVNOs. So that actually got fixed finally when the June patch got pushed out today. So there were only 2 software builds for June listed on the Android developer website. And this is how a lot of us know. Typically, the OTA, over-the-air files, which is what you normally get if you do a system update on your phone. So you get your phone, you go, gee golly, I'm expecting an update. You swipe down, you go to your system settings, and you go check system update. That pulls what's called an OTA. It pulls the over-the-air file, so that way it can install it on your phone. Well, what happens in Google land, the first Monday of every month is when the new security and software patch comes out. At about 10 o'clock is when those files should be uploaded onto the website. That's historically when they're there. And then after about kind of noon, maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on your time zone, they start to roll out. Well, that didn't happen. But what did happen was this afternoon, they added 2 more files. So there were only 2, and then they added the 2 more. And what that was additional support, and MVNOs was one of them. It wasn't there before, and that's why people were having issues trying to run their Google Pixel 6a with like Mint Mobile or Metro or even like Cricket Mobile. So that should be fixed now. You should be able to get that update. And then I had a bunch of people saying, hey, the update's here, the update's here. And I'm like, no, the update's not here. What you're getting is the June patch. So all of this to bring us up to speed to talk about August, which is not here yet. Well, it is. We're living in August, but we don't have the August software build yet. Hopefully, it will come out today. Hopefully, I will release this at 10 o'clock this morning, and then ideally, I'll start getting a bunch of messages from people saying, hey, bro, it's here now. That would be the ideal situation because we want this to roll out as quickly as possible because what's happened here, the Google Pixel 6a has launched. It doesn't even have a July update. There's no July update for this phone available. They're going to jump straight from basically April to August for most people. But now that the June patch is rolling out, that does at least give some people some fixes. Heck, it even enables VoLTE, voice over LTE support for people outside the US. So there are critical important things in that June patch that I'm very grateful that we're getting. So they launched a phone with an outdated software build, with an outdated security build. Then they didn't have it available on day one. Then they had phones that wouldn't even work with it because they didn't have the software support to allow their network carrier to work with it. And then no August update yet on August 1st. So now we're August 2nd is the day that you're seeing this. I hope it rolls out soon. And it's actually very funny. There's always a race, and I try to be very aware of this. I actually put out a comment on my YouTube community saying, hey guys, video is going to come out later than usual. Why? once the video drops, I see what the updates are, I see that it's available, and then I tell everyone. That didn't happen today, which is why there was no video. And also I had some appointments this afternoon, so I wasn't able to come back and talk about it. But that's where we find ourselves now. And it was funny because I checked this morning and 9 to 5 Google had already published an article saying the August update is here. They wanted to be first. And they were the first one with an article, but they were the only one with an article. And then that was a very glaringly ugly article by this afternoon. They pulled that article. It's no longer there, at least from what I've seen. And then they released an update saying that it's delayed. So it's very funny. They announced it and said that it's available, then they had to come back and say it's delayed. So that's why you don't get into the habit of putting out things prospectively, and especially don't ever rely on Google. Like if you're trying to rely on Google to be on time, then you need to find a different business, because this is not the business to be in, trying to predict when they're going to show up and do something like they're supposed to. And this is very frustrating because it should be here. And here's the thing, nobody has told Google that, like, here, you need to set this contract with people who have your phones and make sure you drop this at X time on the first Monday of the month. That is arbitrarily, they set that timeline, they set that schedule. They can't seem to adhere to that schedule. And I thought we were out of the weeds with this one because the last couple of months they've been fairly on time. Even though when it came to the July update, mine was actually a couple days delayed before I finally got it. All that to say, the August update should be here soon. You should have the June update. So if you haven't checked, go to your system settings. I'll walk you through this real quick. Very, very easy. So you just open up your phone, swipe down, you go to your settings. So once you get into your settings, you swipe down, you go to system, and then you go to system update, and then it should tell you whether your system is up to date or not. So this is my Pixel 6 Pro. It's up to date. My Pixel 6a is updating right now because, as you Pixel 6 owners know, the software update takes forever. It's very, very slow. So August update, when can we expect it? Hopefully soon. Hopefully it'll be here very soon. It could be here today. It could be here tomorrow. This still puts me in, it frustrates me because, again, Google is not delivering and Samsung beat them again. I saw an article late last night. Bam, Samsung was already dropping the August update. Now, it takes a while for that to trickle out. It might just be South Korea. It might just be certain areas, but they're at least getting it out there, and they beat Google again. And I think that's a point of pride for them now, because when it comes to software updates, Google was Johnny on the spot for years. They were the best. They were the first. They were timely. They gave the longest security support. And now Samsung has their lunch and their lunch money. Samsung gives 4 years operating system updates where Google gives 3. And they both give 5 years of security patches. So they're on par with each other. And Samsung, for the last probably 4 months now, at least, has beaten Google to the punch in getting their software update out there. So this puts us, Google needs to really stay on top of the ball. They do not have the credibility over the last year. Ever since the Pixel 6 has released, they have lost credibility. They have lost dependability and reliability, and they really need to regain that and reestablish their goodwill with their customers, because people have been through the ringer. When it comes to the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro, the 6a was their chance at redemption, and I still think largely it's going a lot better than the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro launch. But here's the thing, it's not the phone, it's them. They are in the way. They're the ones that are messing things up again. They're the ones not getting patches out. They're the ones selling a phone that doesn't have carrier support for certain carriers. They're the ones that are not getting the software updates and releasing a phone with no plan and a 4-month-old security patch and software update on their phone that addressed a lot of the issues that we already took care of with the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro that people were largely happy about. So this is not to bash the phone. I do like the phone. This is not to throw Google under the bus. They do that themselves. I like the phone. I like Google, but I like to place some of this stuff into context because it really is a lot of, I think, in-house mismanagement problems and quality assurance. I think the company's just too big and too fragmented, and it seems like their priorities are always somewhere other than making sure that the customer is happy and getting the experience that they deserve. Once they can get that on par, then they'll be able to take things to the next level. But as much as they're increasing things and making nicer phones and better hardware and all these other things, it's still Google with the sand weights around their ankles, and they can't seem to move their feet fast enough to catch up and get everybody on the same page. So the phone is fine. I like it just fine. It's been doing good. I haven't been having some issues. Also, it does seem like this update to June has, for at least some people, fixed the fingerprint sensor issue if you were experiencing that. I have gotten some positive feedback from members who have updated to June and said it's no longer recognizing fingers that aren't registered. And also, we have the Android 13 beta, which you can now opt in on. I'm going to make a separate video about that because I'm going to tell you how to opt in. I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of that. And maybe you should watch that video tomorrow because that one's going to come out the next day. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, then please go down in the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, if you found this helpful, if you like Pixel videos, then please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.